Hi guys, it's Miss Sarah from the West Bank unit, and I've got Mr. Brantley here, who is an engineer that works for General Motors. And so, Mr. Brantley, can you explain kind of what you do in your career for the kids?
Yeah, for sure. So what I do is I'm an accessory product manager, and I handle anything that makes our cars and trucks look cooler or go faster, whether it's putting lift kits, decals, or stickers, making them louder exhaust. I know a lot of you guys probably know the Corvette that just came out. It's pretty awesome. I do a lot of work on that to make it really super fast, um, make it look cool, put spoilers on it. And we do a lot of stuff with our trucks too, whether it's lifting them and putting bigger tires and wheels on them so you can go off-roading and mudding. So I do a lot of that handling, making sure that we actually can use them and sell them on our cars for our customers.
So basically, to break that down, you make all the extra cool stuff for General Motors cars.
Right. I have a pretty fun job. When you buy a car and you're like, oh, it's not that cool, and you see another car that's like got a lot of cool stuff, that's me. I'm that guy.
All right, so I bet they know exactly what you do, even if they didn't know you're the one that did it.
Exactly. Yep. Working behind the scenes.
So what were your favorite subjects growing up as a kid? So elementary, junior high, high school, what were your favorite things to learn about?
I was also like really kind of drawn to math, mostly just because I was like really good at it. But I also like art class too. So it really kind of, most people don't really put those two together. But I kind of use both in my job now, both the engineering side and the design side as well. So I would say that like those two classes have been a very core structure for where I'm at right now.
Well, that's awesome. I wouldn't have put in terms of engineering, you wouldn't think that art is super important, but you want it to look cool, even for it to work as well.
Exactly. Design cool things and then make them actually work. So that's my basis right now.
So what kind of school did you have to complete? Was it a four-year degree, any extra schooling for graduate degrees? What did you have to complete to do what you do now?
So I did a 4-year degree at Louisiana Tech University in mechanical engineering. And then I went through a couple of classes while I was at work that we had to take for engineering courses. And then later on in my career, I decided to go to get a graduate degree for international business. That's kind of like propelled me to where I am right now. So it's been a long road, and schooling has definitely helped. I will say that.
So how much of what you studied with kind of all the different degrees that you've gotten, so how does that apply and how does it not apply to what you're currently doing?
So I would say that the basis of it is what you learn is more about how you learn. I think that when you're educating yourself, you're learning how to do things differently. So I use a little bit in parts and pieces from each degree and each avenue of education that I have. But the overall learning experience has taught me that I can learn different ways and I can learn about different things no matter how old I get. And I'm a pretty old guy as compared to you guys. Um, but no, always keep learning, always try to keep learning. And there's things that you wouldn't be surprised that are so connected um, that they might not seem like it on the surface, but trust me, they are. There's engineering, like we say, engineering and art is connected. And the same goes for business and any adventure you go through.
So is there anything that you wish you had learned at school that would apply to your career now, like maybe extra art classes or something that you kind of learned afterwards that was available back then?
I would say that probably people skills are probably going to be the one thing that no one really teaches as well as you think you would be able to use them. I think we all have a general understanding that, hey, we get along with people, but there are going to be cases where, some people have different opinions than you. You have to learn how to communicate with them. So having people skills and learning different way people think and how they react to things is very, very important, no matter where you go to. So I would say that communication and learn those people skills are going to be very important no matter what you do.
That's some pretty awesome advice. So how long have you been, maybe not working specifically at General Motors, but in your career engineering kind of with car stuff?
Ooh, That goes back a while.
Okay, how about let me rephrase it. You immediately did you immediately start working in your current career after, like right after you got out of school with your degrees, or did you kind of take a little time to figure things out and then find that you wanted to do like your place right now?
So I did start right after college, but I did a couple of internships prior years while I was still in school. So I did chemical down in New Orleans. I worked in at Wagnerman Chemical Company, and I did industrial, which I did like front loading. It's a little bit complicated, uh, so we'll just leave it at that. But I did like I tried to see which avenue would be the best for me and which actually kind of suited my taste. You know, a lot of people like to go into oil field and gas. Some people like to go into chemical, industrial. There's just so many avenues um, that you kind of had to go out there and try your flavor. And for me, automotive was always in my heart, so that's where I landed up.
So with engineering, are internships something that's really important to kind of help you figure out where you want to go or things like that?
Oh, 100%. I definitely guarantee it that not only are they helpful like testing your knowledge and making sure that you can do the job, but it gives you a good sense of like, do I want to do this? This is something that's going to be well suited for me. And for me and my friends, I think that it's helped us to get to where we are right now because we chose something that we were really good at and that we can exceed at.
That's awesome. So you kind of talked a little bit about communication skills were something you didn't learn in school that are really important. Would you say that's the most unexpected part of your career, or would you say that it's something else?
Oh, 100%. The communication is the way that I always present it to myself or to anyone else is you can have a really cool idea, but can you explain it to your boss? And can you make him believe that this is a cool idea as well? And having that aspect and looking at it that way is like, yeah, I can design the coolest Corvette out there, the fastest, beats anything out there, but it might cost a lot of money, like way more money than we ever spent. And if I go to my boss and say, hey, I have this cool idea, I have to explain that it's worth the cost. So the communication is the hard part. The designing and like engineering, problem solving is probably the easiest of the job.
Okay, so that, I mean, you kind of touched on that the communication was kind of the hardest part of it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what would you say the best part of your career is?
Uh, the joy rides. uh, Honestly, just getting to see the customer's face too. I know I enjoy the things that we make, and I make them for the customer. So when you have someone that's really enthusiastic, it's like, I'm really excited about this. I'm so glad you guys made it. It kind of makes my job, worth a while, like going through things, um, because you see at the end of the day, you're making someone else happy by the work that you put in, and that at the end of the day, there's no better feeling than that. Although going, pretty fast in the Corvette or Camaro is pretty cool too.
Have you seen any of the things that you've designed like out in the wild after they've started to be produced? Was that, how cool was that?
Oh, it was awesome just to see it. Like, you start from, we start 3 years before it's actually seen by the public. And I remember actually working on the Corvette that they just released. And when I first started and like seeing it in person, it's like, I worked on that. Like, I know how that works. And that's amazing to see it come to life. It's like if your Legos were like took a life on their own, things that you build and things that you create and draw, like we built that, we made it real. So it's very rewarding.
I can only imagine if I created something and then somebody drove past and I'd be like, I did that. You're welcome.
Yep.
Great.
It's like, I like that. I like those wheels. It's like, okay, I made that. I'll take props for that.
That's really cool. So if somebody came up to you and told you they wanted to grow up to be Mr. Brantley, what advice would you give them?
I always say, do not stop learning, because we always can learn. It doesn't always have to be in school, but I do highly suggest school. But never stop learning. Never stop learning about yourself. Never start learning about the world around you, because things are constantly changing. And I myself, I'm learning every week, no matter what. My program always changes. So the ability to learn is the best avenue you're going to have to be successful and to get anywhere you want in life. That is my biggest piece of advice. I know everyone has their own avenues. Not everyone wants to be an engineer or an artist or anything, but if you always can commit to learning, you'll always be where you want to be.
That's awesome advice. And so before we end this, I do want to ask you one more question. What's the next cool thing that, like, if I go look outside my street, which I live on a busy street, what can I see that Mr. Brantley created besides the new Corvette that I wouldn't know what it looked like? But that's me.
Well, if you know LeBron James, you
Ooh,
know that he signed with us to do the Hummer electric truck.
ooh.
So that is coming out in the fall, and I think you're going to be really surprised with what you see.
So I will say LeBron James actually, when he was down in New Orleans for the NBA All-Star game, redid our gym. So the middle of our gym says the LeBron James Foundation. We have a really awesome mural that he commissioned. So we're, especially at the West Bank Club, we are very fond of LeBron James. So that's awesome to know.
Oh yeah, we're very fond of him too. He does a lot of good work for us.
Well, that's an awesome connection that kind of roundabout we're
Yeah,
tied together.
right.
Yeah.
Everything is connected, right?
Through LeBron James. All right. Well, awesome, Mr. Brantley. Thanks for taking time out of what I assume is a really busy day designing really cool stuff that our kids can see kind of out and about when they're going on their errands and starting to get back to some normal life. So thanks so much for talking to us. And I
Yeah,
hope you
thank
have
you
a great rest
guys.
of the day.
You too. Enjoy the day.